Hey guys, it's Kai from Lucas Land and Royals. Hope you're doing well. Today is an absolute gorgeous day to be working outside. A little bit windy, but the temperature is perfect. In last week's video, I started to build a stand for a terrarium, so if you want to get caught up, I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Today is going to be part 2, so let's get started. Alright, so hopefully by now you've all caught up on part 1 of this build. So since then I've added these 2 pieces of lumber, and they're just in there with glue, wood glue, no fasteners, no nails or screws. These are not for supporting the terrarium. Their main purpose is to act as a frame for the door. So just imagine this whole section in the middle cut out, and then the hinges for the door can be attached to either side. I haven't decided which way the door is going to swing out, so I wanted one of these supports on either side, so I have that option. So now let's get on to the next part. So I'm going to get started on the trim. I've gone to Home Depot and picked up some additional pieces of lumber. These are 1 by 3 inch lumber, and I've already cut some of these down to size at the store just so I can fit them in the car. It's just a rough cut. I've also picked up a couple of these trim pieces, and as you can see, they are just 90-degree pieces of lumber serve as trim, and each of these are 50 inches. Again, these are cut roughly, so I'm going to be cutting down to a precise measurement. So for these trim pieces, I don't have measurements. As you'll see, all I did was make a mark and then take it over to my miter saw and make a cut. I made 45-degree cuts for all the trim pieces that went around the bottom and the top of the stand. I also cut the 90-degree corner trims to length. So a quick tip when building this, each of these corner pieces I've marked so that even if I remove these, I'll know how to reassemble them in the exact way they were before. And these corner pieces that I've showed you before, well, these are cut to 23 3/4, and the purpose of these is to dress up these edges so you don't get the exposed plywood. Now you notice I didn't get to the very top, and the reason for that is there's going to be another trim that you saw wrap around the top, so that allows a space. And that trim's going to actually protrude about by 3/4 of an inch, and that's just going to help to keep the terrarium fixed in the middle on the stand so it doesn't accidentally slide off. Alright, so all the trim work are cut and laid to the side because the next thing I have to do is cut a hole for the door opening. Okay, so we are here on the inside of the stand. This whole area is going to get cut out for the door opening. Now, what I'm going to do is first use this hole saw to make an initial hole that's going to allow this router bit to enter. This blue part is the cutting part of the router, and then this silver part is a bearing that just rides along inside here and serves as a guide. Now I don't want the hole to get cut flush to the frame down here, so what I'm going to do is insert a filler strip held in place by a clamp or something. That'll allow the router to ride along here and get cut a little bit taller or a little bit higher than the frame itself. I don't want to get cut here, I want it to be cut here. On the top, it's okay for it to be cut flush to the frame, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Alright, so now the opening is done. I think it came out pretty well. I did have to take a couple passes just because it's my first time using that router, but it came out really clean. So So now it's time to add on all the trim pieces that I cut, and I'm gonna do that with just brads. So here's a stand with the trim all done, and as you can see, it came out pretty nice. So the top, again, the top trim sits above by 3/4 of an inch, and again, that's so the terrarium doesn't get accidentally bumped and then slides off. So right now it can't slide off. As you can see, all three sides have the trim sitting a little bit proud, and of course the back is going to be up against the wall, so there's no issues with it falling behind. So now, because the trim sits a little bit proud of the frame, that means this whole piece shifted up, and therefore we got this lip that formed. And I wanted this lip to be symmetrical top and bottom, and to mimic that, remember I put a piece of filler on the inside so the router can ride along the filler. So now if you look, we have the same edge. Now it's important to fill in all the holes left by the brads, and I'm just using wood filler. So once it dries, I give it a thorough sand all around, and then it's ready for paint. All right, we are on day 3 of the build. It is really windy today. Anyway, it doesn't take 3 days to build a stand like this. I just like to break things up into manageable chunks to fit my busy schedule. Now, I just came back from Home Depot with this piece of plywood. It is 24 by 24 by 1/2 inch, and I had the Home Depot guy cut this down for me to be slightly larger than the door opening. So the piece I have in my hand is 20 by 22.5. So that's just about 1/2 inch larger than the door opening on both sides. I also picked up this trim. So this is the same corner trim that I used on the stand. Because I want to carry that design element from the stand to the door, I'm going to be using the trim to cover up the exposed edges of the plywood. Like I said, it's really windy. I don't know how much work I'm going to get done out here, but I promise I'll show you the finished product. Wow, it's getting super windy out here. So I think the last couple things I'm gonna do is attach the trim to the door with some Titebond wood glue and some finishing nails, and then I'll give everything a good thorough sand, and I'm gonna take everything inside for painting. you go guys, the finished product is behind me. I painted it and left it dry overnight. I installed the door with hinges and matching handle. I hope you find this DIY helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.